Ever pondered about the paradox that was Fidel Castro, the military leader and president of Cuba? Fidel Castro, the man who would become a symbol of revolution and defiance against the world's superpowers, was born in the year 1926 in the vibrant country of Cuba. Castro's early years were far from ordinary, hinting at the extraordinary life that lay ahead. Born to a prosperous sugar farmer, young Fidel was exposed to the stark contrast between wealth and poverty, a disparity that would later shape his political ideologies. His education was a blend of religious schooling and law studies, providing a unique mix of discipline, morality, and a keen understanding of the law and its power. It was during his time at the University of Havana that Castro's political inclinations began to take root. He became deeply involved in student activism and the fight against government corruption, sowing the seeds of his revolutionary spirit. But it wasn't just about politics for Castro. His passion for sports, particularly baseball, revealed a competitive spirit and a relentless pursuit of victory. In the early 50s, Castro's political aspirations led him down a path of rebellion against the ruling Batista regime. In a bold move, he led an attack on the Moncada barracks, an event that ended in failure and imprisonment. But even behind bars, Castro's spirit remained unbroken. It was during this time that he delivered his famous "History Will Absolve Me" speech, a powerful address that resonated with the people of Cuba and cemented his status as a revolutionary leader. As he emerged from prison, Castro was ready to ignite the flames of revolution. But did he know then that he would shape the course of Cuba's history? Before we dive deeper into the life of this enigmatic figure, make sure you subscribe to our channel. There's a world of fascinating stories waiting for you here, from the tales of revolution and power to the untold stories of history's most intriguing personalities. So, hit that subscribe button and join us on this incredible journey. The revolutionary inferno was set ablaze by Castro, but what kind of leader did he prove to be? Fidel Castro, the man who would become synonymous with the Cuban Revolution, was not just a participant in the rebellion, he was its heart, its soul, its very lifeblood. From the moment he began his journey to overthrow the Batista regime, Castro demonstrated a unique blend of strategic acumen and charismatic leadership that would come to define his time as a revolutionary leader. Castro's military strategies were as innovative as they were effective. He knew that in order to succeed, he had to win the hearts and minds of the Cuban people. So he used guerrilla warfare, a type of irregular warfare in which small groups of combatants use mobile military tactics. This enabled him to engage a larger and better-equipped enemy, using the element of surprise and inciting fear to break the will of the Batista forces. But Castro was not just a military strategist, he was also a charismatic leader, a man who could inspire loyalty and devotion in his followers. He communicated a vision of a better Cuba, free from the shackles of corruption and inequality that had plagued the nation under Batista's rule. He was a master at connecting with the common man, understanding their struggles, and rallying them behind his cause. In the end, Castro's combination of strategic military planning and charismatic leadership proved successful. In 1959, the Cuban Revolution triumphed, and Batista was ousted from power. Castro was appointed prime minister, stepping into the leadership role that he had fought so hard to attain. But as Castro transitioned from revolutionary leader to head of state, he would face new challenges. He now had the responsibility of leading a nation, of turning his revolutionary ideals into tangible policies that would improve the lives of the Cuban people. A charismatic and strategic leader, Castro had driven out a dictator. Now, it was his turn to lead. From a revolutionary leader to the President of Cuba, how did Castro's leadership evolve? Fidel Castro's presidency was a fascinating journey, marked by a series of bold decisions and policy changes that would shape the future of Cuba in ways no one could have predicted. Castro's leadership style was a unique blend of charisma and iron will, a combination that allowed him to hold on to power for nearly 5 decades. His policies were a mix of socialist principles and practical politics. Castro nationalized industries, implemented land reforms, and championed education and healthcare, transforming the lives of countless Cubans. But these policies were not without their controversies. The nationalization of industries, for instance, led to strained relations with the United States, culminating in a trade embargo that has persisted for over half a century. In the realm of international relations, Castro was a bold and defiant figure. He positioned Cuba as a key player in the Cold War, aligning with the Soviet Union and antagonizing the United States. This alignment brought economic aid but also made Cuba a pawn in the game of global politics. But it was Castro's human rights record that drew the most criticism. While his government made strides in education and healthcare, it was also marked by censorship, political imprisonment, and limited civil liberties. These issues, coupled with economic challenges, sparked mass emigration, with thousands of Cubans fleeing the country in search of better opportunities. Yet, despite these controversies, Castro maintained a strong grip on power. His charisma, his ability to inspire, and his knack for survival made him a figure larger than life. But his policies, both successful and controversial, have left an indelible mark on the island nation. Castro's presidency was a potpourri of successes, failures, and controversies, leaving a lasting impact on Cuba. The legacy of Fidel Castro is a complex tapestry, woven with threads of revolution, resilience, and rebirth. It is a story of a man who dared to challenge the status quo and in doing so changed the course of his country's history. As we reflect on Castro's life and leadership, what legacy does he leave behind? A question that prompts a myriad of answers, each as complex and multifaceted as the man himself. Fidel Castro, the man who held the helm of Cuba for nearly 5 decades, reshaped the nation's landscape in ways that continue to echo today. Under his leadership, Cuba became a force to be reckoned with on the world stage, despite its small size. Castro spearheaded efforts to improve literacy and healthcare, transforming Cuba into a nation with one of the highest literacy rates and life expectancies in the world. Yet his reign was not without controversy. His iron-fisted rule and economic policies led to the exodus of hundreds of thousands of Cubans, who fled to the United States in search of better opportunities. These policies also left Cuba isolated from much of the international community, its economy crippled by sanctions. When Castro's death was announced in November of 2016, the world reacted with a mixture of grief, relief, and indifference. In Cuba, his death was met with 9 days of mourning. In Miami, home to a large Cuban exile community, spontaneous celebrations broke out. And in other parts of the world, his death was met with a shrug, an acknowledgement of the passing of an era. The debate about Castro's legacy rages on, long after his death. Was he a champion of the people, a leader who stood up to imperialism and fought for social equality? Or was he a dictator, a man who suppressed dissent, violated human rights, and left his country in economic ruin? The enigma of Fidel Castro continues to intrigue us. A hero to some, a tyrant to others, his legacy remains as complex as the man himself. As we venture further into the 21st century, the figure of Castro continues to loom large. His legacy, much like his life, is a tapestry of paradoxes, a testament to the enduring power of a single man's vision and will.